Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back, and it is time for another Starcraft 2 Pro replay cast. Today we are on the map Ice and Chrome. This replay happened to catch my eye because it's got two very fun players to watch. In the bottom, we have got, representing the Protoss race, it is Liquid MaNa. And to make this just a very liquidy match, we have got none other than Liquid Clem in the top right-hand side of the map. One of the newest additions to the team, whereas MaNa has been on Team Liquid. Oh, it's been a hot minute since MaNa's joined Team Liquid. I definitely wasn't in the StarCraft 2 scene when he did. So that definitely speaks to at least 6-7 years or so, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. Clem is really good, though. He's the guy who's on everyone's minds as far as upcoming Terrans in the European scene goes. So that is just something to consider. And then MaNa, on the other hand, is someone who's always been very good. And he definitely shows consistent performance for the most part. Like, if you tune into whatever Europeans looking hot at the minute on their stream, there's a good chance they're going to be playing MaNa. MaNa has pretty consistent runs in tournaments. He has had some big runs. I think he got second place in a DreamHack or a WCS. That would have been probably 2 years ago, a year, 2 years ago, which is more recent than a lot of pros, seeing as how the finals of a lot of tournaments lately has pretty much just been like Cyril Rayner. Now, Clem is a player who's incredibly good at multitasking, at dropping, just confidently playing the Terran like macro style too, but then he's got very good harassment. MaNa, as far as thinking of MaNa when I was loading up this replay, I think MaNa's got very good micro, he's got good unit control, and that is one of the things that I'd say sticks out the most against MaNa. You'll see MaNa in tough spots at times, but then he's going to try his darndest to micro his way out of them. And so that is one of the reasons why MaNa is incredibly fun to watch. As far as this game goes, there hasn't been too much going on. We've got a Reaper out on the map for Clem. Nothing's died to it though, as that would be quite uncharacteristic. MaNa just going for a pretty standard opening. I didn't honestly check the timing. From the Nexus timing, I imagine that this would, in the Stalker timing, that probably was the Cybercore first. Then after that, there's the Twilight Council coming out for MaNa. All the while, Clem is just going to be getting up his natural base. He's going to be throwing up his starport. He's going to be getting up his orbital command, putting these Marines in the bunker. Putting the bunker really close to the natural base command center is something that I like, as MaNa is a player who will poke and prod you. He will test your defenses with just like a group of stalkers and things like that, because he's really good at paying attention to them. And sometimes he'll find a way in and just like win a game. I've seen it happen. Now, Clem, he goes for a single Hellion, which is going to be a scouting unit or an additional scouting unit to keep the pressure on MaNa. I do like the fact that he's going for that. The Reaper is out on the map, but it's not able to get into the base really due to the Stalker positioning. In comes the Reaper and the Hellion. They're going to toss down the Reaper's grenade. They're actually going to kill the Sentry. So Reaper for a Sentry, not a bad trade for Clem, actually. In fact, quite a good trade. However, the Sentry had at least tossed out its hallucinated Phoenix, so it does actually get in there. It scouts out what's coming from Clem. It sees the cloak that's building on the starport. Whether Clem's going to cancel that once the hallucinated Phoenix is dead, that's a different question. But the answer to that is yes, and he's just going to go into a mine drop. Who knows, maybe he'll make a Raven after that, since he hasn't scouted out what MaNa's going for, and that is indeed going to be the case, so I really like Clem doing that. Then comes up his couple of additional barracks, so he's going to be going for a 3 racks opening, probably a 3rd CC, relatively soon though, once he confirms MaNa's going for a 3rd base, which we have yet to see, by the way. So MaNa, not the quickest 3rd base in the world, however he is just on 2 gates, so it will be the 2-gate macro blink opening. For now, though, throwing up a shield battery before building his Nexus, getting out that observer because he saw the cloak starting, so he's got to be wary of Banshees. He's now going to move out on the map with his Prism, with his Stalkers, but we should really see a 3rd base from MaNa pretty darn soon. And Clem's just going to have to defend against that light stalker poke that MaNa's going to micro his darndest and try and get as much possible value as he can. In comes this Widowmine drop to the natural base of MaNa. Probes are running. MaNa splits them off. Very well done. Looks like he does lose a Stalker to a Widowmine hit, which is actually pretty darn good for Clem. Stalkers are pretty expensive units, and that's good because the Widowmines are still alive, so there's definitely a chance for them to get more damage done. We do see MaNa, though. He's doing his testing once again. Gonna start pushing into Clem. He realizes, though, he's not gonna break the bunker, so he says, fine, I'll settle for 3 SCVs, and then he gets on out of there. Doesn't lose a single unit, and that's exactly what MaNa does. His third base is now on the way. I imagine we'll see a Forge starting up soon, and probably Charge, whatever's next. In comes the Widowmine drop for Clem. Looks like this one will be shut down with relative ease, too. Not able to shut down the Medivac, or is he? Looks like the answer is yes. That's really, really nice for MaNa. Shutting down Clem's drop, not taking too much damage. He's got his third on the way, but we do have to see the extra tech start. And there we go. There's the Forges going up. There should be Charge or Robo Bay starting up soon because he's going to need something. And oh, pardon me, it doesn't always have to be a Robo Bay. LaughNgamez doesn't know what he's talking about. A Templar Archives can work too, particularly if MaNa is going to play that like Charge Lot Archon style, which you'll probably rely on quite a bit of your mana and you're going into a Templar Archives. The Fast Ice Storm is good, but it is not consistent enough to be the entirety of your damage output. So you will probably need to make a few Archons, things like that. Clem now has been building up a very strong force because he's delayed his third base for so long. And so he is going to start pushing out against his opponent. MaNa's going to need to defend this, and I'll say it's not going to be easy. He didn't start Charge up super quickly, so he might not even have Charge in time for this attack, and that could honestly just lead Clem into a game-ending push. Because Stimmed Bio against a Protoss without Charge, without Colossus, without Disruptors, is just insanely strong. We see a couple of SCVs going down to the Prism that MaNa's using to try and slow his opponent, but in comes Clem. Charge is about 30 seconds away, so the Terran player is going to be moving on in right now. He scans, sees his opponent. He doesn't know that there's no Psystorm. This High Templar, by the way, is fully to try and disable that Raven or feedback it, and he gets it after the Immortal's disabled for a second. Those sentries do toss down force fields, which does keep Clem from diving on top of MaNa and killing him like he definitely could have. So those sentries were actually the linchpin for MaNa's defense there. Without him, Clem could have just rolled his opponent. Now MaNa, though, has bought time. He's able to get up Charge. He's heading into his 1-1 upgrades, which is good to see. He's chrono boosting those out, so I really like that. However, that doesn't mean Clem is completely done attacking. Now, if we take a look, we're going to be seeing the Terran player starting to kill off these rocks, moving a siege tank forward. He's got Widowmines defending this too. Then there is the siege tank getting a shot off. There is still just the one High Templar waiting to feed, or two High Templar. They're building up energy ready for Psystorm, but positioning now, just waiting for a good feedback. In comes Clem. He's going to attack. The Zealots are going to have to buffer for the Immortals, as the Immortals are going to might have to be lifted up into this Prism, depending on whether Clem tries to target them down. The extra shield battery did just finish up. I like MaNa having one to the south, so he can rely on that for defense. We see a drop moves in for Clem, kills off 5 probes. That's not too many for a full Medivac and 2 Widowmines. So overall, I'd say this game's going all right for MaNa. He's holding on. Great force fields for the Protoss player, getting a guaranteed kill on like 5 Marauders. Really, really good pickoffs by MaNa. Those force fields have been the clutch thing this game for the Protoss. And now we see Clem is going to back off. He's starting to get into Ghost. He doesn't have enhanced Shockwave Zone. He is just on 1 E-base. So I'll say as far as macro is concerned, MaNa's doing all right. Or I'd say tech-wise, he's doing all right. Macro-wise, he's only on 58 workers since he's been focusing so hard on his defense. Whereas Clem, he's that macro Terran. He's got his way up to 66 SCVs. He's got a 4th base on the way. So while MaNa has been doing good as far as teching up goes, he might just get overwhelmed by Clem in the late game, who is going to surge up in that economy. So we see MaNa moving out on the map, going to try and get some damage done, going to try and make an attack happen, which I really do like. He's got that Psystorm in his pocket. The army from Clem isn't that beefy, and a good chunk of it's out on the map, not here to help with this defense. So ladies and gentlemen, we see MaNa going to be pushing on in. Can Clem hold on? Immortals moving forward. One of them takes an EMP, the others are still standing strong, and this is honestly such a big Protoss army. There's one of the Psystorms going down. There's another huge Psystorm on Clem's army. Clem is going for a counterattack, but there's the shield battery overcharge. Cannons and Zealots warped in order to defend that location, so I don't see that attack getting too much damage done. In fact, it's being repelled, as we see on the mini-map there. Now we take a look. MaNa's just going to push into the natural base of Clem. He's actually going to kill his natural base orbital. He canceled the third base. A Psystorm drops once more, softening Clem's army up so much. Massive damage is getting done to the Terran by the Protoss player, and we might even just see MaNa push through with his Prism, microing these units, getting maximum value. He could just potentially kill off Clem. Clem, however, did bring those Marines that were attacking the third back, and that might be all that he needs to hold on, but boy, oh boy, did he ever take a beating. MaNa is going to load those Immortals up into the Prism, going to recall him, keep those units alive, and he got massive damage done to his opponent. Killed off a base, canceled the fourth, killed 22 SCVs, completely pulled Clem back at home. MaNa sitting like a villain right now, got 4 bases up. He's just got to build up his army now, and that's actually going to be really, really good for him, as Clem is on 1-1. No armory or no 2-2 started yet, and MaNa's already done his 2-2 just about, so he's going to have an upgrade lead, and that's really going to help him with the critical defense that's going to be coming up, because you know, since Clem took so much damage, that he is going to be putting the pressure hard on MaNa. But I mean, MaNa, he's just going to be building up more cannons, rebuilding a shield battery. His shield battery overcharge is on cooldown at the minute. We're actually short on energy, but there we go. Now he gets that off. I forgot that you can cast that off any Nexus, right? Pardon me. We see 9 probes do die to a Widowmine drop from Clem. I missed that, pardon me. But that is some damage getting done for Clem counterwise, but he's going to need more than that. As MaNa's on 4 Nexus, he can rebuild those probes real quick. He's also got his 3-3 upgrades on the way. So this is looking really, really good for MaNa, all things considered. Clem's just got his 2-2 on the way later than the 3-3 of MaNa. So MaNa's definitely going to keep that upgrade lead going. He's just making lots of probes. He can build a very strong army. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see MaNa power up and just go for another big attack as soon as he can. Because he knows that if you have a chance to kill Clem, you probably want to take it, since he's that good of a macro Terran. Now, taking a look, we see more Zealots warping in for MaNa. He's going to run those right into some Widowmines, though, so good positioning by Clem. And MaNa is wanting to push into Clem right now, but I definitely don't think that his army is ready to do it just yet. He's going to micro those Stalkers as well as he can, but he's going to have to back off right now. Definitely going to need to drop some Psystorms or Force Fields to buy himself some time. He loses an Archon and he loses an Immortal, so yeah, MaNa overcommitting quite a bit. He's going to need some good Psystorms to keep that Terran off his back. A Psystorm is going to kill off, or not quite kill off those Widowmines, pardon me. And it looks like MaNa doesn't really need to go home. His army is alright, but there's not a lot of bulk to this. He needs some Zealot Warpins to reinforce against this much bio. He was going for these Zealot attacks to try and harass Clem, who has established up a 4th base, which is an orbital command, by the way, so rather exposed. But I understand why Clem did this. He knows he was behind on economy, so he took the risk saying, right, I'll use my multitasking to make sure I defend all 4 bases, and that I'll try and catch back up by building my 4th base as an orbital. He plops down a Liberator, which will help defend it against Zealots and things. And now Clem is starting to build back up in that supply. He's just got such a knack for it. It seems that no matter which Protoss Clem's playing against, that he's got a good amount of supply. He's just that good at macroing up. And MaNa right now has to be careful not to take a bad fight. Like, he's moving out on the map, but his army is just as big as it was a second ago. He's dropping a ton of Psystorms, but there's just not that much for the Protoss, so Clem's going to push forward, kill off all the Immortals, but one that gets saved in the Prism, all the Templar, and most of MaNa's army goes away. That was a very, very big throw on that army by MaNa. I don't understand why he was out on the map with an army that wasn't any larger than the one it was about a minute ago. Zealots are going for a counterattack, killing off 10 SCVs, which is nice. The Liberator will clean those up. But that doesn't make up for losing an army. Disruptor's moving forward, but it didn't get a big shot off. There's a nice Psystorm going down from MaNa. He's landing even another Psystorm, and almost all the Medivacs are in the red for Clem. So it's going to be big losses for Clem on the retreat. But I feel like MaNa, I feel like that fight should not have gone that way for him, that he shouldn't have taken that fight. Although things do seem to be working out all right for him. And oh my gosh, MaNa, off the back of his good economy, is going for the surprise Colossus transition. He doesn't have extended thermal lance for these guys, but 3 Colossus against a Terran with no Vikings is actually incredibly good. And I really, really like this transition. In fact, I'll say it's almost unwinnable for a Protoss or for a Terran to fight without Vikings against 3 Colossus. That's just how good Colossus are when they're unopposed. Of course, with Vikings, it's a completely different story, and that's why Terrans build Vikings. Now, Zealots were going for a counterattack, but the Liberator, worth its weight in gold, there wasn't much else going out on the map. So we see Clem, of course, be in position to defend that. MaNa's now moving out on the map once again. He's got the Colossus, he's got the High Templar and the Prism, which has been his key play this game, but there we go. We see him warping in a ton of Zealots. He's got the Colossus, which are really going to help him out here, dealing some damage on this bio. The Prism's moving forward. Gonna drop some Psystorm on the Terran army, force Clem back and back and back. Most of the Psystorm is gone though, so now it's mainly just Colossus and Stalkers, which isn't the best composition. The bio for Clem is gonna push forward. The upgrades are making MaNa's units live longer, but it will be too much for the Terran player, and will be too much for the Protoss player, and Clem will clean it up. He did, however, lose 18 SCVs in that defense, so getting knocked down on the economy once more. MaNa trades out his army, Clem holds on. That seems to be the story of this game. And ladies and gentlemen, we are 16 minutes into this TvP. Make sure to hit that like button, as I kind of forgot to mention that at the start of the video. Let's try and hit 100 likes for this epic TvP. Back to the game though, we see Clem pushing forward. MaNa's in quite a bit of trouble, as he doesn't even have a shield battery at this base, so no battery overcharge to help him out. His Colossus are in a lot of trouble now too, as there's nothing really to defend this one. He did, however, just make 3 more, so that will take the 1 remaining, now dead Viking a long time to kill them. So MaNa's transition to Colossus is something that I have really, really liked. We see the Protoss player gonna kill off a Ghost on the retreat. Definitely not a cheap unit, sniping off Marauders, targeting down the furthest Marauder away that his Stalkers can reach, so he gets both. That's just something that MaNa is so good at doing, and I really like. Clem is going to be getting up a 5th base during this, so his economy is still going all right. He is a 4-base Terran, mining out on some of his bases, but same goes for MaNa. So both these players on all right economies, and the game is moving forward. We see Clem, he has managed to get out his +3 weapons, which is very significant. And if we do take a look, there's an Immortal now on the way for MaNa. We see there is, just more of the same coming out of both these players. I imagine we'll see MaNa probably attack into Clem. Clem barely hold, and then the Terran kind of push back. For now, though, it does seem MaNa is in quite an alright spot. There's been times which he's been up on the economy, but down on army supply. Right now, he's actually up on army supply, up on economy. Clem is securing up this 5th base, though, which is definitely nothing to sleep on. Getting himself a lot more longevity in this game if he holds on to that 5th base. MaNa, though, throws up a 6th base at the same time. I really like that. Clem doesn't have anything out on the map right now to be dropping to try and shut this down. So I really like the fact that MaNa's just throwing up that Nexus. A Dark Shrine as well could definitely be a strong tool for MaNa later on in this game. That pesky Liberator that was shutting down so much harassment, still staying alive. I thought the Stalkers were finally going to kill it. We see Psystorm is going to push Clem, though, off this base. The Orbital may stay alive, which would be really important for Clem, but he does just lose 18 SCVs. The Stalkers trying to pick off this Orbital. SCVs will repair it, but the Orbital stays barely alive. That is massive for Clem, keeping that going. He's now also got a Planetary Fortress at this base here, so he's got a bit of an anchor. And we do see Clem pushes MaNa away, but he is now down in the 40s for workers, which is very low for the Terran. So we see Clem making SCVs, trying to get that number back to a more healthy position. But MaNa has been really unopposed this game, sitting at a stronger economy, 70 probes for probably like the last 5 minutes or so. And yeah, Marauders now on the way as well. If we do take a look, Clem is at 100 army supply, though, compared to MaNa. The upgrade lead has closed up a little bit, and will be fully closed once that +3 armor is done. And all Clem really needs is one very good fight. That's the case in Starcraft too, and it always has been. You can be behind in a game, but if you get the one good fight, you can completely just win a game. And if we do take a look right now, MaNa, though, is securing up this base. Looks like a Wood of Mine is being a bit of a pest. I'd like to see some cannons and shield batteries get set up here for MaNa. It's just completely worth the investment for the value they have defensively. We see observers moving across the map, but they get killed off by Clem. Good scan. So MaNa, he sees where the army is, but then he loses those observers, so he'll have to make more. And now MaNa is out on the map, but he no longer has a prism with High Templar in, as he abandoned that due to the Viking count. And he's got quite a few Immortals out, quite a few Colossus out. Not a bad army. But Clem's army is looking very scary too. 130 supply. EMPs, Vikings. This is one of the things that Clem is actually best at dismantling Protoss. A Protoss composition that lesser Terrans would fall to. Clem's building Vikings, building Liberators and more Vikings. DT Stride is on the way for MaNa, so he's going to have that for harassment purposes, which I really do like, as Clem is not expecting the DTs. If MaNa actually warped in a few right now and sent them in, Clem would be very, very exposed to them. Pretty much no turrets anywhere. So if MaNa does that, that would be very, very good for him. But for now, he's focused on this defense at the front. He's making more Immortals, seeing as how they aren't countered by Vikings. And there's the Prism with the High Templar, dropping some Psystorms, but honestly not the best Psystorms. And if we do take a look, that was actually most of the High Templar for MaNa. He's only got 2 others out on the map. One to the north, just hanging out somewhere, and one at this base here. So not a lot of AoE for MaNa if his Colossus go down, and that is going to make things scary. This game can very well come down to one last-minute fight. And if we do see Clem, he's got enough of an army. He bullies MaNa off this position. There's a Psystorm that hits the bio, which is pretty good. We do see a big Zealot DT counterattack now moving in for MaNa, though. And these DTs, they don't really have much of an answer right now. Clem's just going to need a good scan to pick this off. He definitely knows there's DTs there now. We see a fight going out on the map. Clem's army all wasn't in position, so good attack by MaNa to catch Clem kind of off. Even snipes off a Ghost, gets a second. Does decide to back off with the Stalkers. That is the MaNa control, though. Always using his Stalkers, even at the 22-minute mark. Very, very effectively. Clem loses 12 more SCVs, taking damage to the DTs, which is very, very painful for him. MaNa decides it's time to push in. He's just going to try and trade out against this army. He lost his 6th base, but if he can take this fight, that's all he needs. That's all either player needs right now, and the Colossus are dealing massive amounts of damage. Even though there is Vikings slowly picking them off, it looks like it might just be too much for MaNa as he pushes in. He's got the Immortals as well, which add a lot of value to this army. Mainly Stalkers and Immortals now up against Terran Bio. The Bio can win if there's enough of it left. The Immortals are getting targeted down by Clem. There's actually none left, so now it's just Stalkers for MaNa. However, Clem does not have a lot of bio either. His production has really been cut into by these DTs. He will clean up that DT, though, and he does still have out some bio. MaNa, however, did just roll up with 2 more Colossus. He's got that 1 High Templar that is at max energy, and this could very well be GG as we see the Protoss pushing forward. Clem's gonna need a miracle hold. He's held and he's held and he's held this game, but it hasn't got any better for him as we see this 1 High Templar dropping 2 Psystorms. The Viking gets picked off. Clem has no choice but to dive on the Colossus, and his bio is just gonna wear thin as the Protoss player is gonna take down Clem, it looks like. Army supply double, and yeah, MaNa's done it. MaNa has brought down Clem. I feel like Clem's won most of the TvPs I've cast on the channel lately, but you can never sleep on MaNa, never sleep on the old dog, and he is doing very, very well. Well played by MaNa as he played a really, really good TvP there. Like, really, really good match, I feel. And I actually want to look at 1 or 2 things, but as far as this game goes for MaNa, that was a great TvP. He got the lead, I feel, and then he just didn't let it go away, which is not an easy thing to do against Clem. As we saw how strong Clem was macroing up there, and MaNa just managed to keep the pressure on enough that he killed off, like, oh, how many SCVs this game? It was 100 SCVs killed by the Protoss. That is so, so many. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, consider becoming a member if you like these StarCraft 2 matches. You can get various perks too. But I did have 1 or 2 things that I wanted to say about this game still, and I actually wanted to rewind a bit to that fight, which I kind of called bad for MaNa. I wanted to double check if I think that was a bad fight. Now, The first thing I'll say is that MaNa, I feel like, could have got more done with the DTs. He had the bank, I'm pretty sure. Just like, let's see, when they were maxed out, I feel like MaNa had the bank more or less to warp in a DT or two. No turret here, nothing to defend. I mean, there was a DT at the third base, but imagine if he had sent even just one up here. Clem would have fallen a lot faster. Imagine one at this PF. Could have got even more damage done. MaNa did go for the big attack with the Zealots and DTs at the front. I feel like if he split the DTs up, that would have been more effective. But then again, this game was so chaotic. We see MaNa microing his Stalkers, both players microing their armies in the chaos, so you kind of do what you can. And that's a very big decision to make. But man, 100 SCVs is huge. And I do want to go back. Let's pull up that screen and see that fight. That was not very good for MaNa. Okay, whereabouts was it? Yeah, I think that this was the start of that fight. So he tosses down some force fields, and then he's just, yeah, like he drops down Psystorm, but it's just not enough. There was not enough bulk in this Protoss army, I feel, and so Clem, like, it does look like he takes a pretty solid fight. This is the first one, right? And yeah, so it's just 4 Immortals, an Archon, 2 Stalkers, and 2 Sentries. So MaNa starts off all right with some force fields, locking the Terran army up, but we see EMP goes down everywhere. Clem splits his bio, he runs forward, and even if the Psystorms are efficient, you gotta have enough in order to kill off the bio afterwards. And he just didn't. So yeah, that was not a good fight for MaNa. The supply before that fight, it was about a 20 difference. After, it was like a 30 difference. And yeah, I don't know. That's just one thing that I wanted to look at again. You want to make sure that if you're playing Protoss, you do have like enough of an army to really benefit from those support units. MaNa was pretty much playing all with AoE and support there, which, I mean, it almost worked out for him, but Clem did just have that critical mass of bio that you do need some Zealots or a good number of Stalkers in there, or even a single Colossus to help you clean up the injured units by the Psystorm. This fight, however, did kind of redeem MaNa quite a bit, as you got a very nice surround on Clem, who got overzealous after wiping the Protoss force. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, just a bit of after-game analysis there for you. Thanks so much for watching this match. I mean, I know I did kind of focus on MaNa a little bit at the end there, just that one fight, but he did so much right this game. I loved the triple Colossus play. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.